What's up, everyone, and welcome back to She Builds Beyond podcast. First, I gotta crack open a little ASMR. That was probably really loud. My poppy. Drink poppy, my favorite drink ever. No, I'm not sponsored, but I would like to be. I would love to be, actually. Thank you. I applied to the partner program, so we'll see. Anyways, today we're talking about the shift with buyer behavior. And I want to thank you so much for all the love on the first 2 episodes. I'm so excited to have this podcast finally back out. I know we're in a different setting today, just changing up the settings in different areas of my house. You know, I get bored sometimes. So today we're talking about buyer behavior and just how the buying decisions have changed throughout the years. I started in the online space in 2018, and so much has changed since then. And I remember I used to do so many mini trainings on Instagram stories. If you all remember my course, Mini Trainings for Profit, I think I have like 2,000 people in that course. It's absolutely bonkers. That course, I remember, came to me because I had so many questions on like how to do mini trainings. That was the number one way I used to sell my offers, was popping on Instagram stories and doing mini trainings. If you remember, you remember. That was an amazing course, by the way. I feel like I should resell it. It was so good. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about the shift with buyer behavior this year, how people are buying a little bit different, and what you can do about it for your business. So I think in the past, people bought pretty quickly. I remember the rise with COVID and everyone just coming online. A lot of people were buying anything and everything. It would take 2 seconds to sell a high ticket offer, right? And a lot of people were selling based off Stripe screenshots, how much money they were making, etc. Now, I will say I used to sell with money marketing all the time. I used to talk about how much money I made all the time. I made a lot of it. I used to talk about it. That was the number one way I used to sell my offers. And I really moved away from that a few years ago. And because that's just not all that I can do. I didn't want to just help people make money. And I felt like I was just attracting people who just wanted to make so much money, which is completely fine. But that was it. I want to help people with so many different things. So I steered away from money marketing. But I remember that was the number one way people used to buy offers. So I want to talk a little bit about what specifically has changed, right? And, you know, in the past, it was all about authority, money marketing, being on, handling all those objections on your Instagram stories, like, you know, take the leap. If you don't, this is the price that you'll pay type marketing. If you remember, you remember. And now I want to talk about just the new way of buying, observing, building trust, building resonance, and how important that is. And how people aren't just buying what you do, they're buying how you think and who you are. And that is the most important thing now. I feel like in the past, people just bought what you do, the picture perfect program, the amazing messaging, the money, the, really hard transformation. And now people are buying into how you're thinking, who you are, your perspectives, your stories, your approach, how you're getting someone a transformation. And I think that is a really great place to be in. So that is what I'm going to be talking about today on the podcast. So number one, how are people buying now? I would say the first thing, pattern recognition. And I think that it comes with building awareness. I think it takes time to build awareness, especially with an offer. Sometimes when we drop a new offer, it can take time for people to purchase because it's a new offer of yours. They're just trying to build awareness with your offer, your messaging, your repeated ideas, your patterns in your language, this new offer of yours. So if you're launching this new offer and you get down because maybe you don't have a lot of people in the first round, that is okay. It's going to take time to become something that is building awareness, right? You've probably worked on building awareness with your brand angles and your stories, but it is different when it comes to offers, right? So just remember you're in the right place. It takes time to build that awareness. And you want to have that familiar feeling, okay? So and especially with your brand, you want to make sure that you are repeating stories. You want to make sure you are repeating your brand angles. You want to make sure you're having repetition with the content that you post. You want to make sure you're having repetition with your beliefs and your perspectives. Because people are going to buy into that repetition. It's going to take someone maybe 8, 10, 15 times to be surrounded by your brand and hear you say the same thing before maybe making a decision. So if you feel like you're just constantly repeating yourself, that's okay. It's a good thing, right? And you can repeat yourself even if you are multi-passionate. I'm not saying like have the same exact offer messaging every time you post on Instagram stories. No, but you have a similar transformation, a similar problem that you solve. So pattern recognition is going to be key, and it's important for you to keep going. I remember one time when was this? I feel like this was a year and a half ago. I sold my membership 62 times. I pitched it 62 times during a launch. 62 times. Crazy. And guess what? It worked great. I had a great launch. I'm not just going to sell something 10, 15 times and expect a lot of people to buy. I'm going to keep selling my shit, even if it is 62 times to have a successful launch. Some people just need to hear things a lot, and that is okay. Number 2, normalizing silent buyers and lurkers. I am a silent buyer. I probably won't engage with you before purchasing. I probably will come out randomly. Maybe you didn't even know I followed you. That's exactly how I am. A lot of people are like that. So if you feel like things aren't working, there's someone in your audience who wants to buy from you. So a lot of people are listening to podcasts, watching your stories every day, looking at your posts. Maybe they're not liking, opening your emails, and they're trying to understand you. And it might take some time. For me, I'm trying to understand their vibe. I'm trying to understand who they are. I'm trying to understand how they think, what their brand stands for and against. I'm trying to understand their approach to getting a transformation. That is kind of how I'm purchasing. And I am lurking to find those things before making a decision, if that helps you at all. So the vibe, and yes, I will buy from vibes. If I can't vibe with you, I'm not buying from you. I don't know where this scenario came from of like, we're not buying from vibes, because if I can't vibe with you, I can smell someone's energy a mile away. I can smell someone's energy a mile away through the screen. And if I can't vibe with that, I'm not purchasing, right? And that is okay. Nothing against the other person. We just vibe with people, right? So I am buying from vibes, trying to understand your vibe, understanding how you think, your stories, and your approach to getting a transformation for me. So normalizing people lurking and taking their time before purchasing, right? So, and number 3, they're not buying more information. People aren't buying more information right now, like a ton of information. They can get that from anywhere, right? Not more frameworks. And I did a post the other day that was like, people, just because you have a really great framework doesn't mean people will buy. They're buying a little bit more from clarity and deeper information now. So they're buying from someone who is filtering the noise. They're buying from someone who is standing for and against something. They're buying from someone who has a clear approach to the transformation that they are getting a client. What is your approach? I know we always talk about no one cares about how you get there. They care about the destination, and that is completely wrong. People care about how you are getting somewhere, how you are getting a client somewhere. Of course, they care about the destination, but the how is very important. People need to align with that approach that you have to get someone a transformation. I care about how I'm getting there. I was really excited to go to Tokyo last year, and guess what? We booked first class because I care about how I'm getting there. 14 hours. I'm 6 foot tall. My husband's like 6'4". I have to be comfortable, and I need more champagne. So I care about how I'm getting there. And that is a make or break deal for me. So hands down. So they're buying clarity in your approach. They're buying clarity with someone who can make things simple. They're buying clarity with your brand. They want to know who you are, what you stand for, and what the transformation is that they're going to get someone. So number 4, they're buying when they see themselves related. They are kind of asking, do they get me? This is where vulnerable content comes into play. I always notice that anytime I am posting a piece of vulnerable content, I am getting inquiries because people want to see that you've been where they are now. Do they get me? Does she get me? Do they understand my season? Has she been through what I'm going through right now? Do we relate on some level? This is why the storytelling content converts, that vulnerable type of content. People are buying into that emotion. Tons of people might not be doing storytelling enough. That is probably the number one piece of content that is going to convert from you. People are loving that emotional based content. So this is something that's going to be really important, tying in that emotional based content. Number 5, they're paying your decision making. So this is when you come in and talk about how you think, how you choose, and how you explain things. So it's really important when I say how you think, they're buying into your perspectives. So the way that you explain something. So me and someone else might explain personal branding completely different, but someone might resonate with the way that I explain it, right? Or I had to make a decision to choose something or make a decision in my business and I talk about it. Someone else may have made the same decision, but someone might invest in her because they were aligned with the way that she made that decision. Me and someone else might have the same take on niching, but the way that I explained it and the way that I think about it, someone else aligns with more. That is what I mean by decision making, processes, thinking. So breaking down why you choose an option over another, sharing what you wouldn't do in certain situations, explaining why you choose something and why you think something. That is when that how I content comes into play. How I do this. If I was going to do this from scratch, this is what I would do. How I approach blank. That type of content is going to work really well for you. So those are just some things of how I think people are buying nowadays. Of course, like case studies work, results and transformations. I think case studies work well when they have like a story behind them. If you can really share a story, and not just like a bunch of screenshots, I feel like that's overwhelming. I like to see the full in-depth story of a transformation. And it leads me back to the point of like, just because you have a good framework doesn't mean people are going to buy. So frameworks, you can easily slap on a cool name for a framework, 3 steps to do this, but frameworks explain the what, right? Buying decisions require belief, safety, and alignment. Okay. So that is a huge thing of why people are buying. You can have a cute framework, but you need the why behind it. You need your approach. What makes it different? Who the hell are you? Right. So, here's a few things that you can kind of take away from this podcast and what you can do to kind of get people to purchase from you and some reflection prompts. Number 1, lead with beliefs before steps. What do you believe in? What do you stand against? What are your perspectives, etc.? Number 2, show how you're thinking, how you're making decisions, your approach, how I. Number 3, really sharing that emotional side of you, the vulnerable, the storytelling. Dig deep into your journey and your experience, which is going to be really important. Number 4, have some repetition with your brand. That is going to be key. So a few reflection prompts to kind of help you is, what do you repeat all the time that you really stand for? What are some things that you stand against, right? What is your take on making decisions or choosing something? How is it different? What is a belief you have in your industry and why? What is a story that you feel like your audience can resonate with that you haven't shared before? So this is really important and just a podcast episode on what I think when it comes to people buying. And I hope that you liked it. And let me know your thoughts. Feel free to send me a DM at madison.tinder and I will see you guys soon.